Amy Slaton and Chris Combs, stars of 1000 Elb Sisters, recently discovered a startling revelation about their family background, which really clarifies a lot about the siblings. Amy and Tammy Slaton's weight loss adventures are the focus of the adored unscripted series, which debuted in 2020. Their brother Chris is among the other brothers who have joined in the weight loss effort. The majority of the 5 Slaton siblings, who now reside in the Kentucky region, have battled with their weight all of their lives. The Slatons have inspired others by losing a total of 1,000 pounds since they starred in 1000 Elb Sisters. Although the Slotons have long known that their ancestors were from England, they recently discovered more about their family history thanks to a genealogy study. The Slatons eventually made the decision to engage a specialist to look into their ancestry after they had long made fun of the fact that they were related to the Queen of England. Amy and Chris will get the results of a genealogical test in a future episode. An expert who examined the 1,000-pound sisters, Season 6 co-star's extensive family tree, was able to determine that they have ancestry dating back to the 18th century. A genealogy specialist informs Amy and Chris in a 1000 Elb Sisters Season 6 episode. The furthest back I was able to get your family was this guy, Hugh Kirkwood, who came over from the UK in the 1700s. She informs them that during the Revolutionary War, Hugh actually suffered injuries. Amy and Chris made a joke about how the Slatons' constant fighting can be explained by their family's history as rebels. The Slatons flew all the way to England to visit their relatives since decreasing weight made flying possible. Fans of the program are worldwide, and the photos were posted online by Reddit user u/Hairforthals1999 after they spotted Amy and Tammy in London. It was obvious that Amy and Tammy were filming Season 6 of 1000 Elb Sisters because the billboard stated that the Slatos were present along with a camera team. The sun was setting over Dixon, Kentucky, casting a warm orange glow across the modest home where Amy Slaton sat, her mind racing with the possibilities of the past. Beside her sat her brother, Chris Combs, equally lost in thought. The siblings, beloved stars of 1000 Elb Sisters, were used to life throwing them curveballs, weight loss struggles, family drama, and the scrutiny of reality TV fame. But nothing had prepared them for this. Amy looked at the stack of papers on the dining room table, a mixture of genealogy records and DNA test results. "You ready for this, Chris?" she asked, her voice steady but tinged with nervousness. Chris let out a deep sigh. "Shoot, sis, I reckon I'm as ready as I'll ever be. Let's find out who we really are." The catalyst. It all started with a harmless curiosity. Between filming seasons of their hit TLC show, Amy had stumbled across an ad for a DNA testing kit. She thought it might be fun to learn more about their family tree, to uncover the hidden roots of their heritage. "I thought it'd be cool to know if we had, like, royal blood or something," Amy had joked to Tammy, her sister, when the kits arrived. Chris had joined in on the idea, less for royal dreams and more out of genuine interest. "I want to know where all this stubbornness comes from," he'd said, half joking. What started as a fun side project quickly turned into something much deeper. When the results arrived, they revealed far more than the siblings had anticipated. Amy and Chris were sitting in the living room, huddled around Amy's phone, when the first shock hit. The DNA results showed that their family tree was far more complex than they'd imagined. They shared the expected matches, close relatives and cousins they already knew, but there was also a startling revelation, a cluster of matches they couldn't explain. Chris scratched his head, scrolling through the list of unfamiliar names. "Amy, you seen this? These folks got a high match percentage, like first cousins or something, but I don't recognize a single name." Amy frowned, leaning closer. "Do you think there's a secret somewhere in the family? Like, maybe Grandma had some skeletons in her closet?" "Could be," Chris said, his voice thoughtful, "but we won't know till we dig a little deeper." And dig they did. Over the next few weeks, Amy and Chris dove headfirst into their genealogy. They combed through public records, birth certificates, and old family photos. Amy even joined online forums for amateur genealogists, hoping to piece together the puzzle. What they found painted a picture of a family history filled with twists and turns. A branch of their family had relocated to Missouri in the early 1900s, cutting ties with the rest of the Slaton and Combs clans. Over the decades, these distant relatives had built lives of their own, completely unaware of their Kentucky kin. But the biggest revelation came from an old letter Amy found in her late mother's belongings. It was a yellowed piece of paper, carefully folded and tucked away in a box of keepsakes. The letter, dated 1973, was from a woman named Eileen, who claimed to be a cousin on their father's side. She talks about a family reunion that never happened, Amy said, reading aloud to Chris. And she mentions the other family. What does that mean? Chris leaned back in his chair, the gears in his mind turning. I think it means there's more to Dad's side than we ever knew. Through the DNA matches, Amy and Chris managed to track down a woman named Carla who lived just 3 hours away. Carla was one of the closest matches on the list and had grown up hearing whispers about lost family in Kentucky. The siblings decided to meet her. They documented the journey for their fans, capturing every moment of anticipation and nervousness. I feel like I'm about to meet a long-lost twin or something, Chris joked as they pulled into Carla's driveway. When they met Carla, the resemblance was uncanny. She had the same bright eyes and infectious laughter as Amy, the same sturdy build and quick wit as Chris. Over sweet tea and homemade pie, Carla shared stories of her side of the family, painting a vivid picture of lives lived parallel to their own. Carla's grandmother, it turned out, was their grandfather's sister. She had moved to Missouri after a falling out with the family and never returned. The rift had been so severe that her descendants grew up with little knowledge of their Kentucky roots. For Amy, the discovery was bittersweet. It's like I found a piece of myself I didn't even know was missing, she said tearfully during a confessional for the show. But it also makes me wonder about all the stories we'll never get to hear, all the people we could have known. Chris, ever the pragmatist, saw it as an opportunity. This is a chance to build something new, he said. To connect with people who are part of our story, even if we didn't know it before. Tammy, who had initially been skeptical of the genealogy project, was surprisingly moved by the revelation. Maybe this'll help us all heal a little, she said, hinting at the emotional scars that had long plagued their family. The discovery of a new branch on their family tree gave Amy and Chris a renewed sense of purpose. They began planning a family reunion, inviting relatives from both sides to come together and bridge the gap created decades ago. The reunion was a heartwarming affair, filled with laughter, tears, and endless stories. Amy brought her sons, Gage and Glenn, who were doted on by their newly discovered extended family. Chris manned the grill, cracking jokes and making everyone feel at home. For the first time in years, the Slaton Combs family felt whole. As the reunion wound down, Amy and Chris sat together, watching their family, old and new, mingle. This is what it's all about, Chris said, his voice thick with emotion. Not just where we come from, but where we're going. Amy nodded, her eyes glistening. We've been through a lot, but this makes it all worth it. Their journey wasn't just about discovering their genealogy, it was about rediscovering themselves. In piecing together their family's history, they found a deeper connection to their own identities, a renewed appreciation for the bonds that make a family. And as they looked out at the sea of faces, they knew one thing for certain: the Slaton Combs legacy was stronger than ever. This fictionalized account captures the joy, struggles, and emotional depth of discovering a new family tree, blending the drama of reality TV with the universal desire to understand where we come from.